We're back on another exciting episode of Starfleet So Hail, where we have a casual and informal conversation about Star Trek. Today we're talking about episode 6, season 3, Strange New Worlds, the Sehlat who ate its tail. And I'm once again joined by Braxton. Thank you for coming on. We're doing the audience might not realize it, but we're doing a double feature for us. Two discussions in a row. How are you, Braxton?
Double header. I am well. When you started off, I thought that maybe you were sounding somber in remembrance of those 7,000 Americans that were killed.
I was actually, but that's not the reason I was quiet. But yes, it was pretty heavy, man. Like that's a crazy new entry into the lore of Star Trek, which we got to talk about. You want to do a quick summary with me? Do you want to do the summary and then I'll kind of chime in here and there?
Um. Okay. Sure.
All right, yay!
Um.
I like it when other people
So.
do.
Surprise! We got a Kirk episode. So I thought that was really fun. So we see Kirk on the Farragut. The Farragut is attacked. The Enterprise comes to its rescue. The Enterprise is swallowed by a space whale scavenger ship.
I call
Um,
it yeah, like it is like a space whale. It's a leviathan.
a
Haha.
Leviathan. The Farragut is badly damaged. We get to see Uhura and Spock and Kirk and Scotty and
Chapel.
Chapel figure out what to do and to save the Enterprise.
And
This,
a little preview of things to come because they're all going to work together in the future. It was a kind of a little
yes.
mini, not a
Mhm.
reunion, but like a pre. Can we call it a pre-union?
A pre-union, yeah, we got to see them all together and
That's
build
cool.
chemistry.
Yeah.
Um, and then they are able to destroy the scavenger ship, and then we found out that the scavenger ship are the descendants of like what, seven Americans who left 200 years ago. Seven became 7,000, and so like that's why I said the 7,000 Americans were killed. That
Earthlings
was.
maybe is a
mm,
better thing because we're was there a line about them being the best of the world that went on the
I thought that they were Americans.
well, what it was is they scrapped together what was left of the American space program. So NASA,
Mm,
there was only a USA flag on that hull, so maybe you're right. Maybe they were all Americans, but
mm,
or
mm.
whatever America is after the World War III. Because remember, in Star Trek Generations, not Generations, sorry, whoa, why did I say that? First Contact in Star Trek First Contact, it's all kind of different little territories. Remember, he's like, I'm not from the when they were like when they first encountered Lily, she's like, where are you from? The Northwestern art? Yeah, I forget what she says exactly, but it's not the America that we know today. It's a very dark, grim future of America. It's crazy that you say that because
I mean, hey, some people would say that America right now is dark and grim.
yes, some people would say that.
I mean, some people would say that.
That is true, and we are in it, so we are not able to know from the lens of history. But yeah, there's some crazy stuff going on. I would say all over the world. The whole world is in kind of a interesting state right now. But yeah, definitely since we live here in the United States, we're seeing some things that we've never really thought we would see in our lifetimes. I'll leave it at that. I
Mhm.
hope I hope though, I'll just say this, I hope that real life does not follow Star Trek is known for being kind of prescient and like, kind of, not just holding a mirror up, but things come true, like especially in the sense of technology. We get the communicator become the phone, iPads, and now with AI, like the ship's compute. I mean, all the technology and stuff like that. But hopefully, the horrors also don't come true. It's like, I hope it's not Mercury and If there is, I hope Pelia finds me and I can camp out in her cabin wherever she hides out during those horrific times. But yeah,
Now, as much as I enjoyed a bunch of things about this show, there were three things that did not really hit right with me. Kirk's crisis of confidence and him being frozen. He didn't actually really seem frozen, you know. He didn't, because he was talking a whole lot and he was able to storm off. I feel like if you're frozen, like you aren't really able to do all that communicating. Um, so I did not like that. I didn't like the crisis of confidence. I also did not like uh, the I mean, I guess it's like the Death Star. Okay, well, like, you know, you got to hit the Death Star in this one place with this one rocket, and the whole big thing will blow up. But, you know, the ship just seemed extremely formidable. And to shoot two torpedoes in its mouth and blow it up, okay, seems just
did
a
you
little bit
catch
too
though?
easy.
Did you catch though that what blew up was the Klingon ship that was inside? So they Spock targeted the warp
Oh,
core of the Klingon. So it's and that's
oh,
actually like a reference to Jaws because remember
oh,
you couldn't kill Jaws, but once they put the thing in its mouth and like blew it up because
oh,
you blow it up from the inside, or whatever. So yeah, the
oh.
the beast was tough on the outside, but on the inside it was soft. So that's how they were able
Oh.
to do that.
Okay, well now it makes sense. So let me
Yeah.
withdraw that. Okay.
Okay, good.
Um,
So there's only two things. You get so the crisis of confidence and what was
you
the other
know,
thing?
and I don't know, it just didn't feel right that the people were Americans and then they killed them, and then like you saw like all the bodies like floating out in space. I was like, I don't know, like just as
It
an
just
American
it
person,
hit hard.
it
It
just
hit
doesn't
hard.
it just doesn't hit, it just doesn't feel okay to know that 7,000 Americans were just killed. And like, I don't know,
you know,
it just didn't hit right, dude.
that's why I think I have to watch it again. But I think Pelia fixes that when she says I think she says something about they were the best of the world. Like so post World War III, there's no real America, but they use the ship that NASA had worked on, and I guess they just didn't have time to put like all the flags of the countries. But I could have sworn that like she said something about like they gathered all these seven, these seven. What was it? Seven scientists? No, it was more than that. 700, right? Or no, how many?
Mm,
70?
mm.
70? How many was I can't even remember. Did I write it down?
I need a
I didn't write it
rewatch.
down. We got to rewatch it. This is a reaction. We're fresh off the episode, so we can't
Mm-hmm,
really we can't go back and rewind it now and find out.
mm-hmm.
But audience, you can tell us what it actually was, and we might be in the chat in the future when this airs. So who knows?
You know, I
But
didn't realize that the captain of the Farragut was Vulcan
but
until I
anyways,
saw her Green Blood.
I I don't think she was supposed to be Vulcan originally. I don't know who the Captain of the Farragut originally was, or if they even mentioned it. But I like her, and yeah, she was definitely Vulcan. And there's so much to talk about on the little details, but I'll just touch on that. It's kind of interesting that he had a commanding officer that was a Vulcan, and then later he has a first officer who's a Vulcan. Like Kirk is
Mm.
very comfortable around Vulcans, and he plays chess with his captain just like he plays chess with Spock. So I think there's like it explains some of the affinity and like, kind of the comfort that Kirk and Spock have because I think Kirk is perfect for Spock because he works really well with Vulcans. He doesn't seem to have the same prejudices that other humans have about Vulcans. It seems like he's very fond of them, and yet he also is very human, and Spock and Kirk kind of play off of that together. Like Kirk helps Spock with that, and then Kirk has the comfort of knowing that his first officer is very logical and like, will make decisions that will counter his decisions in a logical way. So I feel like especially after this trauma that he experiences where he wanted to go on the planet and start like and do a landing party, and the captain was like cautious about it, and if if the captain wasn't, they'd, like you said, they'd be dead. So I think he likes that and is comfortable with that kind of conflict, if you will, between Vulcans and humans, and it balances out to the right decision in the end.
I'm
What do you,
sure that he probably trusts their logic. Also, if I recall, Vulcans also don't lie, right?
they're not supposed to be able to lie, but Spock has definitely created a there's definitely a loophole
Because it's
there.
like, I
Spock
feel like,
will exaggerate or, whatever, but that's his human, he has a human side, so maybe he can I don't know that it's a really interesting thing because they actually do say, if I'm not mistaken, that Vulcans are incapable of lying, but I don't think that's true. I think they just don't
mhm.
lie as a practice. It's not
So,
that they're incapable of it, but they have a reputation, certainly, that they don't lie.
like, if you need somebody to tell you some cold, hard facts, a Vulcan will do it. Like, a lot of times,
Yeah,
like, somebody
that's
who is
that's
like
fair.
your subordinate, your assistant, who also likes you personally, they will not be able to tell you very hard things. But sometimes you need to hear them. And I feel like a Vulcan would be able to tell you,
Yeah,
like,
I
no
agree with
matter if
that.
they liked you or not.
Culturally and philosophically, they would have no issue um, hurting your feelings
hmm You know,
because they,
how about that? There was like a shot where like the Farragut was really damaged and like the Enterprise was like coming to help and it like threw up its shields and they looked blue and then like the backdrop was like a planet and like some asteroids or something, that
yeah,
was a
debris.
beautiful.
Beautiful
Yeah.
shot. And the Enterprise just like looked so cool when it came in and did that whole thing.
Mhm.
There was one, my only gripe with the episode was I was enjoying it. I was enjoying it. I was totally in the episode. And then something took me out of it, and it was the scene. I loved everything they were doing, building up the tension and everything like that. But when the Enterprise is trying to break free, it's like the thrusters couldn't work for some reason, but then Una ejects the what do you call it? Oh gosh, like uh
The War
the
Core.
no, she ejects like the airlock. Thank
Oh
you.
god.
She ejects the airlock, and it causes the air from that causes the Enterprise to break free, I guess. But we never saw what was keeping it like like stuck. We just saw the Enterprise moving very smoothly, and there seemed to be nothing, like no tentacles or anything like gripping off of it. They did a
Mm-hmm.
graphic showing the one tentacle, but they didn't
Mm-hmm.
actually show it. And I wish that that was there because it kind of was like a little jarring because the editing was so good otherwise in the whole episode, but that was the one moment where
Because
I was like, oh, there just needed to be one more scene or something like that of the Enterprise breaking free from the ship.
are you talking about at the end?
Yeah, at the very end. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. Because I was thinking like when they went in there, it just seemed like the Enterprise was floating. They were like, oh, like
No, but
the
it was
Farragut.
all
They were like, what's happening?
and it was all tangled up. Remember, it had all these like things holding it in place, like
Mm.
inside the when it was inside the thing.
Inside, yeah.
And then we never saw it break free from all those things. I think that would have been worth a CG. Like they should have invested in having you know, the CGI shot of the Enterprise breaking free. I think it would have not. It kind of jostled me out of the moment, but that was the only gripe. Otherwise, I thought the episode was
But
like
didn't they
fabulous.
like do it with like the barium stuff? They were like, oh, like the barium, and I'm like, make
There
us
was
like
just no
think that.
exterior shot. You know what I mean? Like there
Mhm.
was no exterior shot showing the Enterprise breaking free, and that just kind of like took me out of it just for a microsecond. Like it wasn't.
They spent
I
too much on the opening shot
Yeah,
with
it's
the
true. Braxton,
shields.
I had to find something wrong with it. Just one thing.
They
That
were
was
like,
the only
oh, should we like do
thing.
these visual effects and like make the shields, or should we like do um the Enterprise breaking free? They were like, oh, let's just like give them the ship porn like at the very beginning,
At the
like
very
let's hit
beginning.
them hard like at the very beginning.
Just one shot. One shot was missing, I agree, I think. Um, it was really cool to see Kirk on his ship. like the Farragut. It was cool to just see another ship. I don't think we've had like we've spent that extensive amount of time with another crew. Like they went out and hired like extras, like not extras, but a new crew. I hope we might see them again. In fact, I would be more interested in seeing like that's what like I feel like this episode was a soft pilot for the Star Trek Year One series. Have you heard about that? That they're pitching that when Strange New Worlds ends, their dream come true would be to do Captain Kirk on the Enterprise before the original series. So the showrunners are saying when we start out in the original series, there's still like time before that we don't see on camera. It's not like when we start out in the original series, it's not like day one of their mission. So they want to do like what they call Star Trek Year One. It'll take place before the original series starring Paul Wesley. While I really like the cast, I like Paul Wesley and I like what Strange New World is doing. I think it's overall a pretty good show and it's fun and it's like entertaining and it's not it can get heavy like this episode gets, but it also keeps it lighthearted and fresh and kind of episodic, which is nice. But I just don't think we need to do any more prequels. I think we need to move forward. Like I'd rather if I had like control of the Star Trek, you know, franchise, if you will, I would put my resources into a show. Like right now we're gonna have Starfleet Academy, which is great. And then like why not just do a show that continues after the next generation? So like that Seven of Nine series basically is what I would pitch um, as my number one show, whether it's called Star Trek Legacy or whatever you want to call it, I think that would be ideal for me. Or if you're going to fill in the gaps, there's like two eras that I'm really interested in. One is after the original series and the animated series, in between that and Star Trek the Motion Picture. That would be an interesting area to explore. And you could have these same actors in that time period. The other time period would be after Star Trek 6, before the Next Generation. Those are two time periods that I wouldn't mind those prequels. What about you? What do you think?
I totally wouldn't mind a Star Trek Year One.
Mm.
I do like this group of actors. I would like to see them move forward in some way. I like your ideas as well. Just thinking about Kirk. Dude, I forgot how much chemistry La'an had with Kirk, but then like she was given like those looks, and she's like, "Oh yeah, like I got something hot, but like, damn, look at that, like, damn," you know. And I was remembering their episodes and all the chemistry that they have, and I was like, "Oh wow, like this is fascinating." And I just hope that like you know, Kirk and Spock don't have any drama because of Law.
I think they're like gonna not. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't think they're gonna even address it. I have a feeling they're just gonna like not worry about it. Lon's an interesting character because since she's the Noonien Singh, she's like a descendant of Khan. It messes with the Khan episode a little bit
Mm.
because they don't seem to know who Khan is, and when they find out, like no one mentions like, oh, like La Noonien Singh. Like, it's like it's an interesting thing. We'll see how Stranger Worlds kind of patches that up if they even address it. Um, I really loved seeing Kirk when he did come back into his confidence after speaking with Spock. I love that scene because even though it wasn't quite a typical crisis of confidence, I think it was a crisis of confidence for Kirk because he doesn't usually. I don't think he's the type of person who would freeze in the typical way. I think he meant he was just frozen in the sense that like he really didn't know what to do. And so he was stalling and getting angry and getting agitated. So it wasn't like the kind of freeze where you're paralyzed, it's more like you're not on your game kind of freeze. So I don't know if it was appropriate to call it a freeze, or whatever. But what I
I
really
mean, the crew was about ready to mutiny.
that was weird that they were. I like that Uhura stepped in and was like, slow your roll, guys. Like, let's before we even get to that, maybe it's his command style. He's just trying to find his command style, and she kind of reminds him that this is a crisis. He was thrown into this, and so that was good. I love her for doing that. She was so happy when he came back out. She was like, "I'm so glad to see you, sir." Because like
So
these bitches were about to throw your ass in the
mm,
brig and put Spock in command. So I thought that was interesting because I guess he would be the senior officer. But I love that Spock kind of brought it. That's a relationship that we see later on. So I love that this gave us the genesis of that. But not only that, with Scotty, he really pushes Scotty and rides him. Like he doesn't accept Scotty's kind of like, oh, we can't do that. Like it's gonna take like 2 weeks or whatever. He's like, you're gonna figure it out. You're gonna work miracles. And later on, as we know, Scotty gets his nickname, the Miracle Worker. So I thought that was good too.
so now new Scotty is so Scottish. Like, I feel like his accent is very thick. He's hard for me to
Yeah.
understand. James Doohan is American, and so like I don't know. Like I feel
Canadian.
like
I thought he was Canadian, but maybe he was American. You might be right.
oh, you know what? I think you're right. He is Canadian. I
I don't
mean,
remember. I know a bunch of them are Canadian, but not maybe James Doohan wasn't. But anyways, carry on.
but I feel like Canadians and Americans speak very similarly. Like I think that a lot of Canadian people, like maybe if you like talk to them on the phone, like you might think that they were from like Michigan or something.
Yeah,
Hmm
I like that. North USA. Yeah,
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like
yeah. A North American accent.
yeah.
Um, but like New Scotty is like Scottish, and I feel like it's so like a.
He has a very Scottish accent. I understand it. I think I've kind of spent a lot of time with Scots people, but it is hard at times, and I do. I always watch Strange New Worlds a second time with subtitles, whether
Mm,
it's Scotty or whoever, just because you do miss a lot. I feel like, and so I like to see what the dialogue actually
I
was.
feel
Or
like
like
I
he was
feel like
talking about something in the beginning that totally went over my head. So if there's any Scottish people in the audience, like what was that reference he made about? Like he's like, don't you guys know this thing? This like I don't know some Scottish lore, but I don't know what it was. Geek and review. If you're in the audience, you can tell us what he was talking about. Speaking of thick Scottish accents.
indeed, indeed, yeah.
um, but yeah, what did you think of the chemistry of the little group there and like how it connects to later on?
Oh, I loved seeing Scotty, Spock, Uhura, Kirk, and Chapel like in the ready room, talking strategy. Like like I said, they're like building relationships that we see
Yeah,
later. I building bonds. I really enjoyed those
there was one
that
scene in
early scene.
particular
The
that where
mutiny I didn't really
uh
like because I felt
yeah,
like they were.
Scotty was ready. He was like, "What does that look like?"
I mean, he was like, oh, like none of these are good ideas. Like I'm frozen. I'm gonna like walk off. And I was like, you don't really seem frozen. Um, so I didn't like that. Like right away, they were like ready to mutiny. I do understand that they were feeling pressure because they were like, oh, well, like the Enterprise is being like digested, so like we have to like do something. Like
Yeah,
we got to get this guy out of here, but like we got to do something. Like I understood that, but I don't know. It just seemed very like things escalated quickly.
another delightful thing that I wrote down was they had a scene with Scotty in the Jeffries tube, like doing his like putting wires together and like sparks
Mhm.
flying, and that's a
Now he
referential
was in the
to Viewer
Jeffries tube
Displays.
like a few weeks ago, wasn't he? I mean, I feel like he's
Yeah,
always in the
I guess
Jeffries
he's
tube.
always yeah, but that's I guess yeah, but I don't know. There's something about him with Kirk that it felt different this
Mm.
time. Like it kind of felt kind of interesting like that.
Weren't you
Um,
shocked that the aliens were humans?
I was shocked, but I was like kind of not 100% shocked because I remember during one scene I kept thinking like that looks like a lot like a spacesuit, uh, like a
Mm,
current era spacesuit. Why would they have that? Like, how old are these people? And at one point, I wondered if they were going to be the Borg or some kind of Borg offshoot, because you
mm,
get the Borg in Enterprise, right? Yeah, you get Borg in Enterprise in the show Enterprise. So I thought maybe this was like a continuation of that group of Borg, or
mm.
something like that. That was one of the thoughts. I honestly like wasn't that shocked that they were humans. Like I kind of felt like the part of me that's more cynical and dark was like, oh yeah, that could happen. Like that's like if humans are kind of left to humans can be wonderful and kind and empathetic and creative and imaginative, but we're also capable of all the opposites of those things. And so when it was real there were humans, I was a little shocked at first, but then I was like, man, what did these humans go through that made them like this? And that there is that one moment where it looks like this might have been the first time that humans have encountered them, because or at least in large groups, because there was that one moment where the one guy hesitates to shoot Pike. And I wonder if it's because for a moment he was like, "Oh, he looks like my dad," or something, like or something like, you know what I mean?
He's
Like,
human. Like I'm not
yeah,
gonna
he's
just
human. I'm
like.
not. I'm not gonna just shoot him or whatever. Like, and so that was an interesting moment. But I also think it's interesting how they play around. We know how Pike is gonna get. We know Pike's destiny, right? And he knows it too. So it's always interesting when Pike is surprised that he didn't get killed, because part of him must know like, oh, I can just kind of tempt fate. He must do that a lot. Like he must kind of tempt fate just to see what would happen. And so whenever he doesn't get killed, it must mess with him a little bit, like, oh, my fate is actually going to be what I fear it's going to be. It's not this, you know what I mean? Like it's going to be, I'm going to still have to face that destiny of, the radiation and like ending up in the chair and all that stuff. So that's, as far as he knows, that's how his life will quote unquote end. You know,
And it's really unfortunate that they were killed because they had scavenged, stolen, or developed some really interesting tech. Because, like you were saying, like the suit looked old, but then they had like those shields that like
yeah, they
the
had
phasers couldn't
augmentation. Yep,
penetrate. Like
penetrate. Yep.
they were super strong in those suits. Like it would have been fascinating to see. Look,
We
gosh,
might,
I wish they
they're
weren't destroyed. Like I wish that
they're
like the ship was like maybe like disabled or something.
right. I can't believe they couldn't get one survivor. Like they couldn't even like they couldn't like take a shuttle out to get one survivor, or like
Dude,
pull the
there
ship
were all
like,
those people floating in space. They
I
could
know.
have beamed like
No,
80.
he said we can't beam because of all the interference from the debris, but
Um,
that's totally BS. Like, or like,
mm,
could they have not? I just feel like, yeah, not being able to save one single person is a little outrageous.
mm.
That, like they couldn't even try. That's a good point. Um,
7,000.
I would say that this episode's interesting also, and what they became, because the Borg somehow became what they are, right?
Mhm.
And there might be, how like there's parallel evolution, like, on Earth, for example, like, apes are the next closest things to what we are, right? Like they have a lot of similarities, they share a lot of genetics with us. They even have similar like body
Hands
structure,
and
hands
like
and
yeah.
things like that. So it's like a parallel evolution. So the Borg totally, this could be, these are not the Borg, like this is not the Borg origin story, but through their story, we might be seeing something of how the Borg, early stages of the Borg might have been, if that makes any sense. like a
Mm.
collective that keeps devouring, like how Scotty describes, that keeps devouring, is insatiable. They only see one thing. They're unimind, like kind of that. And it is sad that we didn't get to see that perspective. They were kind of faceless and nameless, and we didn't know anything about them till the very end. They did that on purpose, I guess, to shock us all that they were humans, right? But I couldn't help but thinking, like, you know, maybe that is, if they were left to continue long enough, that they would have eventually turned into something not unlike the Borg themselves.
You know, I don't think they made the right call. They totally should have just went back to Earth. Like things would have been okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of unanswered questions. Like, I'm
They're just
sure,
out in space, 200 years,
yeah,
scavenging stuff, like fighting people, like living real hard lives. When they could have just went back to Earth, been in Utopia, not have had a damn job, like and just like gardening and reading books and being happy.
that's what it's like on Earth, huh? It's true. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. That's what it's like in Star Trek. Um, let's see what else was going on. Oh, so let's talk about Pelia again, the star of the. She's to me, I love her.
Resourceful.
She's like such a star. Like,
She's like, oh, we're gonna go ahead and like start using these phones. Like I hadn't used these since I was like a roadie, like for the
for the
jet.
Grateful Dead. No, she said the Grateful Dead,
Oh.
and then Ortegas is like, your species can talk to the dead. Like, so funny. That's so funny. We got to see her quarters, which Dr. Omega's like, your quarters are kind of exactly how I thought they would be, which is
Mhm,
funny.
mhm.
Those were nice quarters, I
Yeah.
thought. I
But
liked her.
hey,
They're
she's a chief of
cozy and
engineer.
like,
Act like chief engineer has good quarters, right?
yeah, but like she's got stuff like history all in there. Like paint. I thought I saw the Mona Lisa back there.
Dude, I feel like she's a hoarder.
Oh, she's definitely, she's definitely ordered, but it came in handy, right? Like she, I like the comedy was pretty good in this episode too, because I like when Ortega's is like, "What is this? A personal massager?" She's like, "This used to be a state of the art communication device, and if you didn't like someone, you put them on hold," which is so true. Remember back when, you, like, you didn't want to talk to them, you just put them on hold, or mute. Mute was the other thing. You just can't put it on mute. And you just let them ramble. When cordless phones came along. There was a nice reference to the joysticks. Apparently, starships manually have like computer gaming joysticks, which I thought
I saw you,
was
Doctor
funny to
Manga.
me.
Yeah.
That was cool. What else did I
Oh,
write down?
Uhura flew the ship tonight.
Oh, she did. She
It was
did.
like
That's
her
right.
second time, I think Scott said, including like now.
Yeah, yeah, that was cool. That was a really cool scene also. I liked it. Overall, I just really like I can't wait to watch it again. It's a fun overall, it's a very fun episode. I think it did really well. I especially liked that last scene with Kirk and Pike when they got together and they had that kind of serious talk. And I think that was an interesting concept of where he says like maybe empathy is not, conditional. You either give it or you don't, and
Mm,
those people didn't, and the difference is that we do, so even though they had no empathy for like the countless people that they ravaged, there was evidence that they just kept devouring, as Scotty says. And but Kirk and crew and the humans of this time would never do that, or would not, or would very, it would take a lot for them to do something like that, and so I thought that was good.
hmm hmm
Daddy
You know,
Pike, Daddy Pike.
thinking
Giving good
thinking
advice.
along, like I did like when because like they were in the bar, like the really bad humans were like
Oh,
coming
yeah,
for
yeah.
them, and like Pac had the booze, and I was like, oh, you know what? I was thinking, I was like, I would drink that booze, and then Laon was like, oh, give it here, and then like I knew that she was gonna use it as an explosive device, and then I liked the
Or
fact that she
distraction,
like
yeah, it was good.
rolled it, and then she like blew it up. You know, I just
Lan's a great character. She's so good, and like Christina Chong does action and like that kind of strength really well. Like, she's just great, and yeah, I liked the whole thing. Everyone had something to do in the episode, which is fun. It was a
yeah.
solid episode. I think this is my first 10 of the season.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I
Oh,
think I'm gonna give it a
wow.
10. What are you gonna give it?
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. You know, I'm sorry, dude. I have to take away 2.5 points just because it ended with killing 7,000 Americans. It just doesn't. It just doesn't.
It
It
doesn't
just
sit
doesn't
right
sit
with you.
right. It just doesn't sit right. You know. So I liked a lot of this episode, but I have to give it a 7.5. Now,
7.5. Wow.
maybe I'll have to revisit it tomorrow. Like, I'm gonna watch it again. I'm gonna watch it again. I'm gonna see like if it hits, if the ending hits different.
Yeah. You let us know. Audience, what did you think of this episode? Tell us the ratings in the chat. Braxton, it's so fun talking to you about these episodes. Thanks for subbing for Marcelo while he's been out.
Absolutely, absolutely. I have been excited to step in. You know,
I hope
fill his
even
shoes.
if not if, even when Marcelo returns, we hope he recovers quickly. I hope you'll join us and we can turn it into a trio instead of a duo.
Oh, bam, 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 bam. I love it. I love it. You know, and I have somebody to like, you know, I'll like trash like the romance and the relationships,
And
and be
then
like,
we'll
oh,
we'll
look,
get
it's
some
the best
tension.
part of the
We'll get some
show.
tension up here on this bridge. It'll be great. It'll be great. Marcelo will want to throw everyone in the brig. Like, it'll be great. It'll be fun. Anyways, Marcelo, if you're watching this, we miss you. Hope you get well soon. Everyone, thank you for joining us. Remember to like, subscribe, and share if you want to. You can retweet us if you want to. Um, tonight, don't forget to watch the tonight. Don't forget to watch the Text Trek first reaction stream hosted by our friend Rachel, Miss Rachel. And then tomorrow night, don't forget to watch the Text Trek deep dive where Fathery goes almost frame by frame. He does do a lot of screenshots, which I really enjoy. So it's cool. I used to do that too, but I got lazy. We
It's
just
a lot to
discussed.
do.
It's a lot to do. This was so much fun. Anything before we close out? Anything you want to tell the audience? Anything you want them to check out? We already talked about
Um,
Alien Earth on last night's stream, so maybe today. Oh, I got something. Day of the Jackal. Is anyone watching the Day of the Jackal? It's really good. Braxton,
what
you should watch that
streaming
too.
service?
It's on Peacock.
That's right. You were telling me about Dave
Yeah.
the Jackal. Mm-hmm. You know,
But before
no.
that, you should definitely watch The Gilded Age. You got to catch up on The Gilded Age before next season.
Mm, mm,
I'll
mm.
rewatch the whole thing with you if you like watch it in stages. I'll like catch up with you. We can even do a stream about it. It might be fun.
Hey, Alien Earth first. Well, let's see.
Yeah, let's do that. Fantastic. All right, who's that? Esri?
Oh, this is Ezra.
Hey,
My,
Esri.
like whenever, like you have probably heard Ahsoka upstairs crying because like she has not been able to sit here because Ezra has been sitting here mostly. You know, they hear me talking on the computer and they're like, oh, like we need to like go and like be on camera.
By the way, you got a comment from like when you debuted your virtual background. Some people thought it was real. It
They were
does
like,
look
oh,
like it does fit you. It does have kind of. I think you that has a little bit of your style in there, so I think it fits. It's good.
They were like, oh, Braxton upgraded. They're like, oh yeah,
Do
he's
y'all?
like, he's living in a California ranch with a grand piano.
That's what I was gonna say. Do you play piano? Do you play any musical instruments?
No, unfortunately.
Neither do I. Alrighty, well. Live long and prosper, everybody. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.